I'm Kathy. I'm one of 4 siblings that came into Shirley's life at the age of 6. I entered. I'm sure I turned things kind of upside down when she had been the center of attention with Mom and Dad and everybody else. I remember birthday parties at the Stevenson household where every aunts and uncles, cousins, great aunts and uncles, grandparents came to celebrate the birthday. There was always an angel food cake, lots of running around and having fun. I also remember as we got older, Shirley loved to lay out in the sun in suntan or ride around on the tractor when they were baling hay, getting a really nice suntan. And I remember too that she was a trendsetter. When she went to beauty school in Waterloo, when she came home, she brought us all one of those black lace veils to replace the pillbox hats. Mom was very, very embarrassed. I wore the veil and Shirley wore it. Don't remember that Mom did. But within a year, lots of people at Our Lady of Lourdes Church were wearing those black lace veils. And Shirley, when she was a young gal, actually was in the Miss Cresco contest, and then I was also in the Miss Waterloo contest. And very proud of her. I remember after the program was over, and she, didn't win first, turning around, and there was Dad with tears in his eyes, and he's saying, "I don't care what place she came in, she is still the most beautiful and talented girl there." I hope that he said he was going to share that with her, and I hope he did. And I want you to know that Shirley came by her junking abilities at a very young age, as it was quite the thing for us to go to the dumps with Grandpa and Grandma Stevenson. And there were some real treasures to be held. If you were brave enough to avoid the rats that might have been crawling around. But she got her junking skills from Grandma Stevenson, which passed on to, of course, my dad. He was really good at junking too. And I gotta say that I'm a pretty fair junker also. Love making something unique out of nothing. I've always admired Shirley. She had a wonderful sense of humor and, will certainly be missed. Thank you for honoring her.
Knowing how modest she was, she would have thought it was a waste of time and unnecessary for people to spend time talking about her. She was firstborn of 5, and because of that, had the dual responsibility to help with farm work, plus help raise her younger siblings. Dad and Mom had lived through the Depression, and the impact it had on their lives was undoubtedly transferred in large degree to Shirley. She learned to be self-sufficient, to work hard, to expect little in return materially. Living in a home with no running water, no indoor bathroom, no television was the norm for her. Attending a one-room schoolhouse for much of her education was a welcome break from her farm and domestic duties. Mom made sure all of us were well indoctrinated in the Catholic faith, so I'm certain Shirley spent a fair amount of her early years in catechism classes, attending Mass, and praying the Rosary, even at times kneeling in front of the radio at home during Lenten radio rosary sessions. I remember Shirley was fairly close to her grandma, Ida Stevenson. I've always felt Shirley got her treasure and bargain hunting fever from her grandma. Spending time with Ida normally included time at the city dump, searching for discarded treasures. Did this relationship ultimately lead to trips to the caves and Shirley setting up the shop in Warrensburg. Shirley was the only one of our family to live a distance from the home farm. No matter where she lived, it was always interesting and exciting to go visit with her and her family. She was really good at coming up with interesting things to do when we visited. Excursions to Silver Dollar City or the caves in Kansas City or the Missouri State Fair are still fond memories. Sometimes the road trips ended up taking much longer than they should have because of a shortcut that Shirley took ended up at a bridge out or road closed sign, and we had to backtrack for many miles to the main road to get back on track. This happened more than once, and to this day, Deanna and I still refer to these as Shirley shortcuts. Mom and Dad always looked forward to the trip to visit Shirley and family. They were so comfortable because she was so much like them. When Shirley and family came to Iowa, there always was a box or three of treasures to hand out. I still have Army surplus, carbon-infused, camouflage clothing in my basement. We all appreciated her enthusiasm for bargain hunting. While in high school, we visited Shirley and Omer while they were at ISU in Ames. They took us on tours of the research facilities at the university. I remember how amazed I was to see the cows with a window in their stomach, in addition to the other research that was going on. Eventually, when I was a senior, I recall Shirley asking what I planned to do after graduation. I am sure I mentioned farming. She suggested that I think about attending college, and I could farm if I wanted to after that. This made sense to me, and I did end up at ISU. Happy birthday, Shirley. Wish you were here.
Hi, I'm Shirley's youngest brother, Chuck. And, there were 13 years difference between Shirley and I, but never felt that way. Shirley was always just a phone call away if, I needed her or just wanted somebody to visit with. She'd made the comment once that my sister Mary Ellen and I were her first children. Now, I know Mary Ellen did check into that, and biologically we weren't her children, but I think Shirley was such a caring and loving sister that she kind of took us under her wing and always was there when we needed her. Shirley was a great sister. As I think back growing up on the farm, there was always a lot of excitement when Shirley and Omer and the kids would come to visit. We looked forward to their stories and all the adventures that their family had been through. On our last visit to Michigan, Tammy and I was talking to Shirley about when they'd come to visit. It seems like something always had to be butchered. I'd come home from school and there would be a critter, or whether it be a calf or a hog, hanging from the rafters in my dad's shed. And of course, we'd all have to pitch in and help cut up meat and wrap meat. But we got to laughing. I said, wouldn't it have been fun if that calf would have still had all four legs, or wouldn't have been a belly rupture, or, some other medical problem with that animal. But, that is life growing up on the farm. You make do what you have. And it was so good to see her laugh again. She really thought, the truth hit home, I guess. Shirley gave us a lot of opportunities growing up on the farm. I remember her taking my dad and myself to a wrestling meet. I assume it was to see Omer wrestle, probably when he was in college, maybe at the West Gym. But, I just remember being there and the excitement of that. When we went to their place in Missouri, we went on a couple vacations to Silver Dollar City. Got to see some things that we probably wouldn't have had a chance to ever do, to get off the farm. I also got a chance to go to the Kansas City caves where Shirley did a lot of her buying and stuff for her shop. And, our family has such great memories of Shirley coming to visit, bringing a van load of stuff that she had gotten from those caves. And it was like a treasure chest on wheels. It was for young and old alike. And, the good news was if you found something you liked, you never had to share, because there was probably 10 more of those same items in the van somewhere. But she certainly enjoyed what she was doing, and we enjoyed hearing all the stories about what she had bought. We also got a front row seat to watching her children and grandchildren grow up, whom Shirley was so proud of and grinned from ear to ear when she talked about them, and all the things that they had accomplished. You know, we certainly remember the weddings and the wrestling meets and triathlons and holidays that we spent together and all the fun that we had. You know, living in the Cresco area, I was fortunate to run into people that had known Shirley when she was growing up, whether it be old classmates or friends or cousins that she had spent a lot of time with. They all had so much respect for her and always commented on what a nice person she was and how friendly or how beautiful she is. I know when we visited her shop in Warrensburg that the co-workers and customers that she dealt with on a daily basis felt the same way. You know, she certainly picked up that trait from my parents, and Lucky has passed that on to her kids and grandkids. Shirley and Omer have done such a great job of raising their kids and having made such a positive impact on their lives and the lives of their grandchildren, and certainly all of us. I know it must be so hard on them to lose both parents in such a short period of time, but certainly have a lot of good memories. I am forever grateful to them for all the care and compassion that they have given my sister in the last few years. I certainly will miss Shirley, but I am thankful for our time together, and I'm lucky that she was such a big part of my life.
I am Mary Ellen Vacta, Shirley's youngest sister. Shirley was 12 years old when I was born. She was the oldest child in the family, and there were 5 of us children in the family. In those days, the older siblings helped to raise the younger ones. Our mom was not feeling well for a time, and Shirley would look after us. Because of this, Shirley would tell my younger brother and I that we were her first kids. I don't recall a lot about my younger years with Shirley, but I heard about a story that happened when I was just a little girl. I had long hair back then, and my mom must have been pretty proud of that. Shirley, on the other hand, thought it was just a tangled mess. She said she couldn't even put a comb through my hair. So one day, she decided to take matters in her own hands. She put my hair in a ponytail, and she cut it off. Mom was not a happy camper. I can only imagine what transpired after that. The ponytail was kept in a box and given to me when I was older. I am not sure why, but I still have that ponytail in a box. Shirley would often talk about her younger days with our Grandma Stevenson. She cherished going agate hunting in the quarry, going on an excursion to downtown Cresco, and going on numerous other adventures with Grandma Stevenson. I think our Grandma Stevenson instilled a little of the treasure hunter in all of us kids. Shirley went to beauty school after high school. After that, whenever she came home, we all got haircuts. I'm not sure how she felt about that, having to give haircuts every time she came home, but I don't recall her complaining. Shirley was a problem solver. While Omer was pursuing his doctorate degree, money was tight. Shirley did what she could to make the dollar stretch as far as possible. I recall a period in her life when she was devoted to clipping coupons and looking for rebates or refunds on purchases. She scoped out garage sales and second-hand stores to clothe and provide for her family. It was amazing how she could raise her young family on a tight budget and rarely pay full price for anything. Later, as her family grew, she discovered that you could often get the best deal if you bought in larger quantities. Because she was such a generous person, we also benefited from her purchases. It was like Christmas every time she came home, or any time we went for a visit. We are still using some of those things she gave us. Eventually, her passion turned into a source of income when she began her shop at Those Are the Days. She enjoyed her work there and loved seeing others find joy in snagging a bargain. I was always amazed that she could haul all of her merchandise up those steps to the second floor resale shop where she worked. In her later years, she really enjoyed finding fabric for her customers. She could rip fabric like a pro. She enjoyed sitting down and visiting with her friends and coworkers at the shop. There was also a time when Shirley was into antiques. She saw the value of remembering the past. She particularly liked Red Wing stoneware. Some of our relatives lived and worked in Red Wing making stoneware for a time. Shirley valued that connection to the past. She collected other antiques also. The phrase in the obituary, "to see the beauty in the broken and the potential in the items long forgotten," coined her spirit perfectly. Shirley knew how to cook for a crowd, whether it was preparing food for a graduation, a wedding, or a visit from relatives. Shirley made sure that no one went hungry. She always made room for family when we visited, often asking one of the kids to give up their bed for us. And I thank you for doing that and realize the sacrifice that you made to do that. I do recall one time there were a lot of overnight guests. Shirley cleared out a walk-in closet and put down a portable mattress for us so that we would have a place to sleep. She wanted all of us to be under one roof. Shirley was our family historian and investigator. While they lived in Salt Lake City, she discovered that it was the genealogy capital of the world. Shirley researched our family history and put it down in writing for us. She was thorough and tried to verify the information with at least 3 different sources. We appreciate her work on researching our ancestry. She was also a crafty person. I recall the porcelain dolls that she made and still have mine displayed. For our family reunion, she bought visor caps for the kids to decorate. The kids had fun with that. She was always thinking of others. Shirley was a storyteller and a lifelong learner. A visit with Shirley included lots of laughter at the stories she would tell. It seems like she had an adventure planned for us whenever we visited, usually one where we learned something. I recall Chuck and I going along on a trip to Silver Dollar City in Branson to see the way that people used to live and work. She would also tell us about the James Gang and their history in Missouri. Shirley had a wealth of information and was continuously curious. Shirley loved her family. She would often talk about your accomplishments or the good that you had done. She was proud of all of you. It is refreshing to see that her work ethic, curiosity, resourcefulness, kind-heartedness, and ingenuity shine bright in each one of you. About a week after Shirley passed, I was outside planting flowers. Flower planting was good therapy, as I was having a hard time dealing with Shirley's death. While I was planting, I could hear a cardinal in our yard. That is not unusual, as we have cardinals in our yard from time to time. I went on with my work, but this cardinal was unusually loud and persistent. It was like it was trying to get my attention. I stopped what I was doing to see what all the commotion was about and spotted the cardinal in our bushes. It sat there and watched me, all the while continuing to sing. It was then that I thought about the saying that a cardinal is a representative of a loved one who has passed. When you see one, it means they are visiting you. They usually show up when you most need them or miss them. They make an appearance during times of despair to let you know they will always be with you. That day, it was as if Shirley was telling me, "It's okay. I am okay. I am home." She will be missed.